as Orca, Ulises, Orkid, Shouka, Keat, Kalia, and Makani, our killer whale family. Throughout today's Inside Look presentation, you'll get the opportunity to learn more about our training, husbandry, and research projects. So, sounds like we have a lot to cover. You ready to get started?
Let's do it!
To SeaWorld's Inside Look. My name is Blake, one of the whale trainers here, but more importantly, I'd like to introduce you to the killer whale family that you guys are going to be hanging out with today. If you look to the center of the pool, you guys are going to see a male and a female killer whale. This is Orkid and Uli, giving you guys a nice big wave hello. Now, two of our smaller whales making their way around the perimeter of the pool, giving you a nice wave from their pectoral flippers, is going to be Makani and Shouka. Give them a wave back because they can see you. Now we interact with our family of killer whales in a variety of different ways. Watch as we interact and have a fun playtime session down at the glass, while we play you a short video about the different types of sessions we do every single day here at SeaWorld.
One of the most important parts of our job is making sure that no 2 days are exactly alike for our killer whales. The best way that we can ensure this type of variability is by utilizing an acronym called HELPERS. Each of the letters inside of HELPERS represents a different type of session that we can do with the whales. For example, H stands for husbandry. Now husbandry is arguably the most important letter in HELPERS because it revolves around the animal's health care and well-being. Through positive reinforcement, we can ask a variety of different behaviors to maintain their health care. For example, we can do a full body examination, get their body temperature, and we can clean their teeth, which we do 2 times every single day. Exercise is just as important for our killer whales as it is for you and I to stay physically fit. All of those incredible high-energy behaviors that you see in our Orca encounter presentations, for example, are actually all really important to help keep our whales physically fit. All of those bows, spy hopping, tail whipping, and porpoising behaviors that you see all aid in the physical shape of our killer whales. Learning sessions are my personal favorite because this is where we get to actively engage and train all of the amazing behaviors that you see in all of our different types of presentations. These animals are highly intelligent and not only need physical stimulation, but lots of mental stimulation as well. Every interaction with our whales is an opportunity for them to learn something new, and it's up to us to keep their brains active and stimulated throughout the day. Play and enrichment go hand in hand. It can not only be reinforcing for our whales, but also for us as their trainers. This is a great way for us to build that relationship and have lots of fun together. Playtime sessions can involve giant whale-sized toys, novel enrichment, and even live fish that we can put into their habitat for the whales to enjoy. Relate sessions are one-on-one personal time and moments between the whales and their trainers. Relate sessions can look different for each whale and every trainer. Spending quality time with our whales is a great way to build a trusting relationship and provide world-class care to our family of killer whales. Finally, the S stands for scientific research studies. Several of our animals have been active participants in many of the research studies that have aided their wild counterparts out in the open ocean. The whales are currently participating in cardiovascular studies, a lung health study, as well as a hearing study that focuses on reducing noise pollution out in the open ocean. Not only are these studies great for conservation, but are great cognitive challenges for the animals. The HELPERS acronym allows us to make sure that every day is fun and different for our amazing family of killer whales.
Well, now that you all have learned about the different types of sessions that we do every single day here at SeaWorld, we're going to go ahead and give you an inside look into some of our husbandry sessions. And again, husbandry is asking the whales to participate in their own healthcare and well-being. We can do lots of different types of husbandry behaviors every single day, like brushing their teeth, or even getting voluntary measurements from the whales to make sure that they're growing nice and healthy. So we're going to be actually starting our husbandry sessions by measuring our killer whales. So you can see we have a nice giant tape measure down here that Taryn is holding, and we will actually measure every single one of our killer whales at least once a quarter to make sure that they're growing properly. Now we can measure them on different parts of their bodies, like their entire length, from their rostrum, which is the tip of their face, down to the tips of their tail flukes down at the very bottom. We can measure the circumference, the distance around their entire body, or we can measure different parts of their body, like their dorsal fin or their pectoral flippers. So Shouka is going to be sliding up into our slide out. Now Shouka is a 31-year-old female, and we are going to be asking her to allow us to actually get a measurement of her dorsal fin, which is the fin on the back. So you can see that we're going to head on over to the slide out, and you can see that we're going to ask Shouka to allow us to put that little measuring tape on the pectoral flipper. I'm sorry, the pectoral flipper, not the dorsal fin. So for you folks over here, and maybe our camera can zoom in, I'll get out of the way, you can see that we are actually holding the tip of that on the base of her pectoral flipper, right where it connects with the main part of her body, and then we're holding the end of it on the end of her pectoral flipper. 80 long, 80 inches, 80 inches long, no, centimeters. I can't read a tape measure. And then 47 for the what? Width. Alright, so if you've ever wondered, and you've ever wanted to measure what a killer whale pectoral flippers are, just, that was it. Wow, really cool. Now, to us, that doesn't really mean super a lot, but we do like to document that and keep track of it week or month over month. That way we can make sure that some of our younger whales are growing properly. Now you guys are going to get to see the same thing with one of our adult male killer whales who's fully sized and fully grown. This is Ulises, and Ulises just celebrated his birthday, and he's one of our oldest killer whales here at SeaWorld. So you're going to see he's going to be sliding up in just a minute, and we're going to ask that same behavior from Ulises and measure his pectoral flipper. Now, pectoral flippers do have bone inside of them, and if you were to take an x-ray of them, it would look similar to our human hand. So they do have a 5 bony structured digit in that pectoral flipper. And you can see he's patiently waiting, seeing what we're going to be doing next. Now, all of this husbandry training is done with positive reinforcement, and it's always voluntary, meaning we're just asking the whales if they'd like to participate, yes or no. And most of the time, they say yes and allow us to do all this incredible husbandry training. So we're going to ask Ulises to put his pectoral flipper on the side of the pool, do it a little bit differently than what Shouka did, so you can see some of the different types of ways that we can get this measurement. So he's going to line up and put his body against the edge of the slide out and hold his pectoral flipper up and out of the water. Now he is a much bigger whale than Shouka is, so it takes him a little bit more time to get into position. But you can see he's going to roll up right there, and then Taryn is going to walk out, again with that measuring tape, and hold it at the base of his body, and allow us to get the full measurement of his pectoral flipper. Now, Shouka's, like I said, was pretty small comparative to Ulises, and his is going to be about the size of a dining room table, so it's very, very large, much larger than Shouka's is. So again, throughout this process, you're seeing the whales are just remaining calm, and that's true to all the criteria for the behavior in all of these husbandry sessions. The whales are trying to remain calm, and we can reinforce them in a variety of different ways. You'll see us constantly rubbing down the whales on different parts of their bodies, like their backs or their pectoral flippers. Killer whales have incredibly sensitive skin, and this is one of the ways we can reinforce them for remaining calm throughout the procedure. So let's see, Ulises is 133 centimeters long, and the width is 93 centimeters. So again, we're able to take this information every single month and make sure that they're growing nice properly. Alright, we're going to have Ulises slide all the way up so you can see how much bigger Ulises is than Shouka. And again, Ulises is a fully grown male killer whale weighing at over 10,000 pounds. So here he comes. Now while Ulises is slid up, you can see that his dorsal fin is curved over. Now the dorsal fin differs from the pectoral flippers because that does not have bone or muscle. So they can be up to about 6 feet tall and weigh up to 300 pounds. Without that bone structure just to support it, whales that spend more time at the surface, like our whales, gravity does tend to curve it over. But they can't move it or wiggle it around or anything like that, and it does not have anything to do with their health or well-being. It's just a product of where you see the whales spending their time. So that was us measuring some of our killer whales, and that's one of the ways that we ensure whales are growing nice and nice consistently is take our whale's temperature. So believe it or not, the whales will actually allow us to monitor their temperature every single day. So we have this semi-waterproof, I say semi-waterproof because we go through a couple a year, but this is a measurement or a thermometer that we can actually use to get the temperature of our killer whales. So Orkid is on her way over to the slide out. And when we ask for the temperature, we do it rectally, so we'll ask Orkid to roll over and present us with the underside of her body, and then we can insert that in and collect her temperature, which is really cool. Just like you and I, it's important data to make sure that we're staying healthy, and if we're getting sick, we're able to monitor that and have our veterinary team come out and help us make sure our whales are not getting sick. So you can see she's coming on out. She's presenting the underside. You can see we're just going to insert that right down there. She's going to remain nice and calm throughout this procedure. So it's really incredible that we can ask for fully grown killer whales to roll over and just hang out super calm and allow us to get their temperature. So I don't know if Taryn can hold it at a slight angle, so maybe the camera can see it, but you can see that the thermometer is climbing up. She's our Price is Right model today. She's doing a great job holding that thermometer. The bidding starts at $2, and I'll give you my Venmo. Alright, it's climbing up right now. It's about 92 degrees. There we go. There you go. Now you can see it up on screen, which is perfect. Now, they are a little bit colder than our body temperature, but they are mammals, so they do have warm blood. So their body temperature is roughly the same as us as humans, just a little bit colder. Now, killer whales do live in very cold environments. The water here is about 55 degrees, but they have really incredible blubber that helps keep them nice and warm. And that keeps their body temperature at that consistent degree. So we'll see it's going to slowly start climbing up. It'll probably end up about 96-ish. And then we can see that it'll say stable up at the top, and that means that is what it's determined that Orkid's temperature is. Now watch again, as you can see, she's just hanging out right now. Amber is giving her a nice rub down on her belly. Like I said, killer whales have incredibly sensitive skin, and giving them these rub downs is just a great way to reinforce them for remaining calm. And killer whales can hold their breath for about 15 minutes. So no worries, she's just holding her breath while she's under like that. And you can also see the size difference of how long Orkid is compared to us. So they're incredibly big animals. Alright, she was nice for that. Let's see, what did we end up with? What was our final temperature for the day? 95.4. That's a killer whale's body temperature. Let's give Orkid a nice big round of applause. Nicely done. Now, all of this husbandry behavior allows us to make sure that our killer whales are staying in great health, and all of it is done voluntarily. And now that we've learned about the different types of husbandry things we can do, we can move on to some incredible training. All of the husbandry behaviors that you see, it's important to maintain their overall health and overall care. But how do we teach the whales to get their temperature, or to allow us to measure their different body parts? We train all of that behavior here with positive reinforcement, which allows us to do some incredible things. And we do these in training sessions. So we played a short video about how we shape all the behavior that you see up on screen.
One of the most common questions we get asked here at Orca Encounter is, how do you train a killer whale? Well, here at SeaWorld, we're using positive reinforcement training techniques to shape and train behavior. What that looks like is we're always asking the whales a question, and they can say yes or no. So all our presentations and sessions are entirely voluntary. Almost all the behaviors you'll see today are created by the whales themselves. We then add a hand signal to have the whales do that specific behavior when asked. Each hand signal correlates to one specific behavior. For example, we're training the whales a jump, or what we call a bow. The hand signal for that behavior is a check mark across our body, looking like this. When we first begin training that behavior, we have the whales touch the end of their face, or their rostrum, to the target pole. We then have the target pole higher and higher out of the water until eventually all they need is the hand signal. Check it out!
This is the camera.
Hello there. Now all of our whales are individuals and learn at different speeds, just like you and I, right? In school, some of us are really good at math, and some of us are really good at English, and the whales have different skill sets as well. But no matter the behavior, how big or small, the whales learn in small steps. So you can see we're doing a training session with Orkid right here in the front of the pool. Now, Amber has a couple different training tools that she's using to shape this behavior, which we call a yaw with Orkid. You can see that she's holding a target pole, which is basically just a long pole with a buoy on the end of it. And as you saw in the video, the whales learn to touch the tip of their face to that buoy and follow it around the environment. Now, she also has this whistle, which we call a bridge, that communicates to Orkid that whatever she just did was exactly correct and to come get some sort of reinforcement. So you can see Amber tapped the surface of the water, and that splash is an indication to Orkid to come out right where that splash was. So let's see. Now you heard Amber blew that whistle, which communicated to Orkid that was exactly correct. And now you're going to get some sort of reinforcement, which happens to be a nice big old handful of cave plant, or fish. They can see she is having a lot of fun with this. So we're going to give her that hand signal again, which again looks like you're doing the wave. And then she's going to go 40 feet down. And we are approximating these small steps. So you notice how last time Amber tapped the surface of the water. Well, we're not doing that this time, so we're going to see if she can do it without that tap. And she got it! Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you were learning how to ride a bike, you had to learn in small approximations. You started out on a tricycle, and then you moved to a bike with training wheels, and then you took the training wheels off. And the whales are learning in those small steps, just like you learned how to ride a bike. So we asked her that behavior, and then she's going to come up and do it one more time, because the purpose of this behavior is for her to keep repeating that same little bow right in front of that slide out. So our first step was having Orkid follow that buoy on that target pole in that same shape that we wanted. And then we asked her to go on that behavior and tap the surface of the water. Now again, that splash was for her to come up and out of the water. And then we were able to ask her that without that help. Now we're continuing to help her by giving her that same hand signal every time she comes out of the water. This is just helping Orkid out and letting her know, whatever you just did, do that hand signal again, or do that same little bow in front of you again. But eventually, we're going to fade that out, so we only have to give it to her once, and she's going to understand that this means that you're just going to keep going until you hear us blow that whistle. Now she's going to be doing it a little farther out. Let's see if she's got it. Now we actually threw a little snowball into the center of the pool. Now the snowballs are another form of target that we can use. So we have these long target poles, but we can also throw a snowball into the pool. And wherever that splash was, it means the same exact thing as a target pole. Just lets the whales know that, hey, come up wherever that little splash was. Now Orca did a nice, great job practicing in this little training session. And you can see that we keep them pretty short when we do this. That was only a couple minutes. We like to keep things short and sweet so that they remain nice and positive and fun for the whales. And then we can move on to having some more fun. So let's give Orkid a nice big round of applause. She did great during that training session. Now we have a really fun behavior planned for Makani that he's going to be working on. Now this behavior is called a breakspin, and it is cool as it sounds. So you're going to see Makani, who is at the very early stage of this behavior, and you're going to see how we're just starting to train what we're doing. So in a breakspin, the whales will slide up on their side, and then they'll kick their tail flukes in the water, and they'll actually spin their body completely on 360 degrees on that slide out. It's a really impressive behavior. It requires a lot of core strength from the whales, and it's a great way for them to get some nice exercise and use the different parts of their body. So you can see the first step of this behavior is asking Makani just to slide out by himself. So you can see there's this. We're going to ask him to touch that target pole. You can see this is the positioning that we like that behavior in. So when the whales come up and after they kick the tail, they kind of curl up their tail flukes. I'm doing a really bad example of it, but they look like this. And that is the positioning that we're going to be asking Makani for. So we just got him in that position, we blew the whistle to let him know that body form was perfect, and then we reinforced him for it. So we're going to ask him to slide up again, and let's see what our next step to training his behavior is. So he's going to slide up, Hannah's going to give him the hand signal, and he's going to follow that target pole and kind of move around a little bit, just like that. So that probably didn't look super impressive to you guys, but to a trainer, that was really cool. Because what you saw Makani is he was like, I'm not really sure what to do, and then he saw the target pole, and he turned towards that target pole. And we took it exactly the minute, because we want to communicate, you turning toward that target pole, that's what we're looking for. Like I said, they're not going to just come up and spin, just like you're not going to learn how to ride a bike without ever practicing, right? You have to learn in small steps. So we will actually reinforce them for every single little small step. So sometimes they'll only move an inch that was correct and give him some sort of reinforcement for that, for paying attention and even just moving towards that target pole. So he's going to slide up, he's going to move and splash a little bit. Now, when learning, just like all of us, sometimes we make a little mistake or get a little confused, which is no big deal. It's part of learning, right? We're all human, and these are just killer whales, and they're learning just like we are. So when they make a mistake, we can simply do nothing. That's part of our positive reinforcement training style. So they'll just remain calm, and then we can move on to something else. So that was a training session for Makani for that. So that is the small steps that we're using to train this incredible behavior. But to show you the finished product, take a look because Orkid is on her way. Now this is the finished Breakspin product that you're going to see Makani doing, this behavior. But all of those things, small steps that Makani did, is how Orkid learned this too. So take a look. Nicely done, Orkid. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. So you folks will have to come back in about a year or so and see Makani's progress and see his progress on that act. Now let's give both Makani and Orkid a great big round of applause for all the incredible learning that they just did. Now learning is so enriching for the whales, and it's a great way to provide mental stimulation. Exercise is another really important part of making sure that our whales' overall healthcare and well-being is great. And all the high-energy, incredible behaviors that you see in our Orkid counter presentation are actually exercise behaviors that allow us to make sure they're staying in nice shape. Because just like you and I, it's important that we get some sort of daily exercise for the whales so they're staying in nice cardiovascular health. These high-energy behaviors are a great way to keep the whales in shape. It looks like all of our gang is here and ready to go. So it's time to see even more high, incredible exercise behaviors. Now for our whales, it's an exercise session. But for all of you guys, it means it's time to see even more incredible killer whale behavior. Take it away! For SeaWorld's Inside Look. If you have any questions, we'll be down at the glass and happy to chat with you guys and answer any questions that you may have. And don't forget to join us for our Orkid Counter presentation, which is a completely different presentation.